Hey MVPs, Rico Knows here. Going to talk to you guys about the win total for Missouri. Okay, if you aren't aware, I'm doing the win totals or the futures bets for every single team in America. Been going alphabetical by conference. We're in the SEC, so now we're at Missouri. If you want to see all the previous teams, go to the playlist, go to the collection. If you're on Patreon, you go to the collection. If you're on YouTube, go to the playlist and find 2024 futures bets. This is a futures bet. I had somebody tell me they couldn't find the futures bets on FanDuel. Just a reminder, all you have to do is go to the college football page. I'm doing this on a desktop. You can do it on your phone, I'd assume. NCAA football, then you'll see all the subcategories up top. Scroll to the right a little bit. Look for win totals. If you don't see it, might not be eligible in your state. But let's talk about Missouri, who they are, and what they're going to be. Now, you see the over-under here is 9.5 wins. 9.5 wins, pretty significant. Vegas thinks they're going to win less than 10 games because the under is at minus 180. They think this is really going to hit, and they think it's pretty far-fetched if Missouri is going to win 10 games next year. Now, I famously missed on Missouri last year. I had Missouri being terrible. I had them winning 4 games. One of their starting players, Dalen Carnell, he's a safety. He's in the secondary. He reached out to me in DMs. We talked, and he's like, "Rico, you're wrong about us, man. We're great. We're going to be great. You just watch." And he was so right. They were great, and I missed. And one of the few times I've missed on a sports take so badly, but it's bound to happen. It's bound to happen. There's 134 teams. I'd imagine I'm going to miss a fair amount. So you got to be careful, right? So when I'm looking at this assessment, we go back to 2023. Who could have seen this coming? They go out there. They squeak by Middle Tennessee State. This is what I expected from them. They squeak by Kansas State in a shootout. It was just too much speed. Luther Burden III beating the defense over the top. K-State didn't have the speed to run with him. And they beat South Dakota. I didn't mean to skip that. And then they beat Memphis in another shootout. And I'm going, look, they're an SEC team. How are they not blowing out Memphis? Well, it turns out Memphis is a 10-win team. They're ready for that fight. All these close games, with the exception of MTSU one, was like, these are good teams. So you beat Vandy, you lose to LSU in the Heisman Trophy winner, you blow the brakes off of Kentucky, smash South Carolina, lose to Georgia in respectable fashion, and then you blow out Tennessee, beat Florida, and embarrass Arkansas in the final game of the season. Then you go to the bowl game, and you beat the crap out of Ohio State, 14-3. Very good pedigree of football, well coached, right? Shout out to everything they're doing. But after the season, they go and lose, I think it's like 8 players. They lose a bunch of draft picks. I might have it up over here. I just closed a bunch of windows before I started. I was taking notes. I wish I had it. I do have it. All right, first round, Darius Robinson gone, stud on the defensive line. Second round, Ennis Rackstraw. He let me know. He wrote me personally, Rakestraw. He wrote me personally on TikTok and said, "Yo, I was least targeted DB in the draft. Nobody was targeting me. That's why I get no interceptions." I'm like, "Cool, bro. You still ain't picked anybody off in your life." Tyron Hopper, good linebacker, drafted as well in the 3rd round. 4th round, Javon Foster, offensive lineman. 5th round, 2 guys, Jalen Carlouse, the team's leading tackler, and then Chris Abrams-Drain. Undrafted signings. Leading rusher, Cody Schrader, gone. Next running back, Nathaniel Pete, gone. Xavier Delgado, offensive lineman. Marcellus Johnson, offensive lineman, complete stud, both gone. And then Harrison Melvis, the place kicker, all gone. So you lose about, I don't know, I'm looking at 6 draft picks plus an additional 5 or 6 guys as undrafted free agents. So you lose about 14 players. And that looks like a good graduation class, if you ask me, like if I'm being real. I'm trying to understand what's going on my screen here. It's not your guys' problem, it's mine. Bear with me. I'm trying to figure out what's happening. I've got something going on. It's bugging me. I don't know what this is. Oh, you know what? I really don't know what this is. I'm going to delete it. Hopefully it doesn't mess up the video. You wish to remove... Oh, it's the background. No. Sorry about that, guys. I've been dragging around my background. Hey, you guys are watching me make the sausage in the moment. That's crazy, bro. What a rookie mistake. All right, I'm back. Now, that being said, they win all these games, so they lose a ton of talent. And then what are they doing in the 2024 season? So when you go look at the stats in itself, Brady Cook is back. Now, I made a video on TikTok last year telling everybody before this season that I thought Brady Cook was him. and I got attacked. I got attacked by a ton of people telling me you're wrong. I was not wrong. Brady Cook is him. I like Brady Cook, and he's beat out a number of quality quarterbacks to be the starting quarterback. His continuity with his receiving core is going to be unmatched by anyone in America. We'll get to it, okay? Sam Horn is out with an injury. I believe he's not ready to go. He had like Tommy John surgery or something. He's also a baseball player as well. That was Travis Hunter's quarterback in high school. Sam Horn, watched him play, wore number 21. Travis Hunter wore number 12. They had like the inverse of each other's numbers. Sam Horn was good. I always tell a funny story. My father and I went to go watch Collins Hill play against Grayson. It was supposed to be the two best teams in the state, and it was because they played each other again in the state championship. But we went to go see these two great teams. We were new to Georgia. We hadn't seen any of these teams around here. And we show up and we watch the game, and we don't know any of the players. We're just watching it. And the running back for Grayson was Phil Maffa, and one of the wide receivers was actually Jamal Haynes, the running back at Georgia Tech. But Phil Maffa is the running back for Grayson, and he's supposed to be the number one running back in the state and all this stuff. He's going to Clemson, and he's not getting any yards until the fourth quarter. He wasn't doing anything special. He's trying to run. He's getting nowhere, getting 3 yards a carry. We're like, man, this guy ain't good. This guy ain't good. We didn't realize we were watching two of the very best teams in America. It was 7A football in Georgia. They were going to be in the state title game a couple months later. We didn't know. And it's so funny because Grayson wins the game, and Grayson ended up winning state that year because Jake Garcia transferred in and became their quarterback. But we watch the game, and we jump in the car. My father's a football coach, and I used to be a football coach as well. And we jump in the car, and we're driving in it, and it's a 2-hour drive home because I live in Augusta, Georgia. So driving 2 hours, Pops is in the passenger seat, and this 60-year-old man, just looks over at me and goes, you know, man, I could have won with that other team. Like, I could have beat Grayson if I was coaching Collins Hill. And I'm like, you're right, man. And we're just going back and forth, and we're just like, I could have won with that guy because that quarterback was good. It was Sam Horn. We're like, man, that quarterback could look like a D1 quarterback to me. He could have won the game. Oh, and that receiver was pretty solid too. The receiver was Travis Hunter. We're like, yo, if I had Sam Horn and that receiver, I could beat a bunch of teams. I know what I'd be doing. I'd be scheming them open. We were talking crazy, right? We're in the car. We don't know who we're talking about, by the way. We're just saying numbers. Man, that 21 and that 12, we're doing this thing. So we get home. I'll never forget it. We get home. I go to my computer, and I just search Collins Hill, number 21. Who is it? And up comes 4-star quarterback, Sam Horn. I'm like, yo, Dad. I'm like, that dude was a 4-star quarterback. He goes, and he just got like that? They just lost? I'm like, I don't know what's going on. So we do the search. Travis Hunter. I said, oh, my God, he's a 5-star. That dude was 5 stars. We start freaking out. We're like, he wasn't even that fast. He didn't look this, because we've seen amazing players with our own eyes. Right? We grew up in Southern California. Shout out to the Southern section. We're like, what do we just see? It's funny to us. And we never, it's just one of those funny things we saw. We're like, all right, they're okay. They're okay. But nonetheless, let me get back on track here. Sorry about that. Every time I see Sam Horn, I just laugh because I saw him in person and didn't think he was that great. I thought he was okay. Didn't know he was going to be that great. And obviously, he's not better than Brady Cook. Brady Cook is him. Shout out to him. Running backs. You lose Cody Schrader. This is a 1,600-yard rusher, averaging almost 6 yards a carry. Gone. And Nathaniel Pete's gone as well. So your whole running back room just leaves. Don't worry. They addressed it with the transfer portal. We'll talk about it. Wide receiver room. Luther Burden III is the best wide receiver, best slot receiver, slow little guy, whatever you want to call him. He's just amazing. Former 5-star coming out of high school, decided to stay home and play at Missouri. Absolute monster. Theo Weiss transferred in from Oklahoma. Another great player, but he's got actual size. Mookie Cooper's a transfer from Ohio State. He didn't score any touchdowns, but he's good. Like, here's what I'll say to you guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The top 5 wide receivers for Missouri are all returning. You just won all those games last year. You went out there, won 11 games. And you got everybody coming back. Brady Cook returning with all his receivers. Another year of bonding, of timing, of strength and speed. And it's just amazing. You got a new kicker. Defensively, they lost a lot of guys to the NFL, but it was simply because of graduation. And they have some answers. We'll talk about it one by one. But yes, they lost some absolute studs out there. But I'll go over it with the depth chart. Let's talk about this transfer portal class. Transfer portal, you go and get Corey Flagg. If you guys don't know, Corey Flagg started 3 years at Miami, eventually lost his starting lineup. This is a Texas kid. He lost in his starting role in the lineup because Maui Goa, how do I say his name? I don't know how to say his name. The kid from Washington State who transferred in, took his job, and it was over, like at that point. Now, he is not, to me, SEC starting caliber linebacker. Nope. He's very limited athletically. He's quality. He's a good player. Just don't see him as an SEC caliber starter. I don't think he starts on this team. I think he transferred in to be depth, which is crazy, but he did. All right, Chris McClellan, great size, 6'3", 320, and he's good. He's been on the field for Florida, been in the rotation. You guys know I'm very critical of Florida defensive linemen, at least one in particular, Prince Umanley. But Chris McClellan looks good, and he's young. He's only a sophomore, I believe. So this has like a lot more years left. And they got a lot of guys. They got a lot of the same type of player. I like it on the defensive line. And they got to replace NFL guys. They had to do that last year. And I didn't think they were going to do it. They did. This year, I'm believing they're going to do it. So there we go. Marcus Carroll, one of the nation's best running backs out of Georgia State. I love everything about it. What you guys need to understand is Marcus Carroll wasn't just the starting running back at Georgia State. His backup running back was KZ Adams. And his backup was Freddie Brock. All three of them are absolutely amazing. Georgia State's running back room was so loaded, and Marcus Carroll is that guy. Now, he's very, very specific. It's an outside zone running scheme that they used to do at Georgia State. They do it here at Missouri as well. He knows what to do. He runs downhill. He gets you first downs. Marcus Carroll is him. Now, they also have another running back. I'll point it out here in a little bit. But Marcus Carroll's the guy going to play that Schrader role. He's going to be good. He's going to get you first downs. By the way, your receivers are all amazing, so it's going to help. Torian Pride, starting corner from Clemson. It's great. Taking over for Rakestraw. You lose Rakestraw, you go and get a starting corner from Clemson. It's awesome. Zion Young's probably going to be in the starting lineup. Zion Young, edge rusher, coming over from Michigan State. They have so many guys like this, but he's actually been on the field and got it done. I like it. I like this guy a lot. I like four of them. I like Darius Smith, Zion Young, McClellan. I like Kelly. Yeah, I like four of them. I watch tape on it, and I go, whoa, they got four edge rushers. And remember, they lost their defensive coordinator. I should have been focused on this. Their defensive coordinator left, and he's now at LSU to be the defensive coordinator. So you have to replace him. You go and hire the defensive coordinator from South Alabama, but they run the same scheme, right? They run a 4-2-5 defense. So there's not much that's going to change unless it's terminology. But in the spring, this year, from what I saw, Missouri was not focused on implementing any type of new defense. It was just focused on individual competition. Like, who's better at these position groups? They're not really, they'll figure out the playbook later. They were just looking to compete and see who's better. And guys like Zion Young pop on tape to me, Chris McClellan, Darius Smith. Like, there's a lot of value in these guys, so I like them a lot, okay? I'll get into that when I go over the depth chart. Drew Pine, former Notre Dame quarterback, was at Arizona State last year, quality backup quarterback, filling that role of Sam Horn being out for the year. Drew Pine is a backup quarterback. You got it. Hopefully you don't get injured, and you'll have a great year. Darius Smith coming over from Georgia. Not a ton of production, but if you can't start at Georgia, no shame. There's just some great players in front of you. So you come over here, and they're giving you an opportunity to get in the rotation. He will probably finish the season with about 20 tackles. There's going to be a lot of guys in the rotation. Nate Noel, what a dog. Nate Noel, App State, doing his thing. Now, at App State, they got a good running back. Kanye's there. He's a great young, true freshman last year, Kanye Roberts. Going to be the sophomore bell cow back. Nate Noel is your scat back. He's your change of pace back. He can catch the ball out of the backfield, and he makes people miss in space. So I'm excited to see the 1-2 punch of Nate Noel and Marcus Carroll. I really am. It should be good. Brady Holtman, this is a kid coming back home. He's actually from Missouri. He didn't play at Wyoming. He was an all-state linebacker. I don't know if this is a preferred walk-on. I'm assuming it is, but it's just added depth, and the move just doesn't make sense to me. Maybe just got homesick and wanted to be home, and they did him a favor. But he's not an SEC caliber player, not from what I saw. Caden Green, star offensive tackle as a true freshman, ended up starting at Oklahoma last year, ended up finding his way into the starting lineup. I know Oklahoma was devastated to lose Caden Green, and this looks like a big money move here. He's going to be starting on the right side. I think he's the starting right tackle. Caden Green, stud. Absolute stud. Sterling Webb, rotational piece at best. Did not stick out on tape for me at New Mexico State. Good guy. You need big 300-pounders. Congratulations, Marcus Bryant. All conference, absolutely amazing. Getting Marcus Bryant this late in the spring transfer portal cycle lets you know how they felt about their tackles. So now they got their starting tackle. Marcus Bryant's your starting tackle. There's nothing to talk about. He's a stud. Probably the best spring transfer portal transfer I saw of any position group. Of all of them, this was the best one. Eddie Kelly coming over from Georgia Tech. Just another guy kind of like Zion Young, having played a lot of football at Georgia Tech. He's in the rotation, but his best days are ahead of him. He's got a bright future, but I haven't seen anything worth talking about. Linebacker, Michigan. Jeremiah Beasley probably didn't belong at Michigan. I don't think he can play there. He's 6'1", 230. He's a little undersized, and he's just redshirted. He just went to Michigan and lifted some weights, won a national title, probably got a ring. But coming over to Missouri, I don't see him on the field. Khalil Jacobs will be on the field, and that's how you know. When a team signs a young guy like this at linebacker, and then they turn around and still sign another linebacker 20 days later, it's because they know they need somebody else who can actually get on the field. Khalil Jacobs coming over following his defensive coordinator. Remember that. His defensive coordinator's from South Alabama, so is Khalil Jacobs. So this is a relationship-driven move, coming over, going with something you're comfortable with. Right? Looking at Missouri, like I told you, wide receiver room, need no transfers. Just everybody coming back from last year. Literally your top 6 wide receivers, all coming back from last year. Studs. They're going to be great. I'm excited to see what Missouri does out there on the passing side of the game. Like, offensively, they're amazing. Then you look at their left tackle, blind side. Like I told you, Marcus Bryant is him. Caden Green is him. These 2 transfers are studs. But you see this guy right here, Logan Reichert? I don't see how you keep this kid off the field. I watched him in spring, and I watched him dominate the opposition. I think he's going to start, and I think he goes to the right side. I really do. I know I sound crazy, but even Javen Richardson's a JUCO transfer. These 2 guys really stick out to me as people that could start. Now, maybe it was who they were going up against, but I was super impressed with them. Cameron Johnson, I get it. He's got seniority. His offensive line coach, he's a transfer from Houston. His offensive line coach from Houston transferred or got the new job at Missouri. So the Missouri offensive line coach is the old Houston offensive line coach. And if you know all the great players from Houston, they all transferred over here and they always had Missouri in their final 3 or 4. Always, because it's their coach. But I'm telling you, this young guy right here can do a lot of work, man. Logan Reichert. I think he's going to start for like 2 or 3 years. You'll see. Tight ends. Norfleet's good. I don't know the other 2 guys that well, I'll be honest, but I do know Norfleet. Quarterbacks. We shouldn't see these other gentlemen over here. We should just have Pine, and hopefully Cook is healthy the whole year. He does run a little bit. I hope he doesn't get hit. Running backs. Complete studs. Nate Noel, Marcus Carroll. I don't want to see the younger guys. Don't need to have him in the lineup. Johnny Walker is a stud at left defensive end. He is a bona fide starter. There's nobody else. That's an NFL guy. Johnny Walker's an NFL guy. Nobody else matters. Williams, Norwani. I'm going to tell you, this is a 5-star recruit. And the great thing you want to know is when you get 5-star recruits and they're not in your 2 deep. That's great. They shouldn't be. You should have better players than them. You should have recruited better players than them for the last 5 years, and they should all be in the starting lineup. So for me, seeing a 5-star player, 3rd string, 4th string, that's perfect. That's good. Lift your weights, earn your keep. We don't need to see you on the field. These other guys over here, complete studs. Like I told you, McClellan coming over from Florida, great. Moving him into the defensive tackle. He's almost 300 pounds. Oh, no, he's 320. I was thinking of Zion Young and Darius Smith. They're both about 270. Okay, Eddie Kelly's good. That's the Georgia Tech kid. And then Sterling Webb, New Mexico State. Tristan Newsome got all the hype last year. Remember, they only played 2 linebackers. Tristan Newsome is a former JUCO All-American. Stud. I like him a lot. Don't know about Chuck Hicks, being great, but you see the depth. They brought in Corey Flagg. He's played a lot of football. So if something goes wrong, Corey Flagg's played a lot of football. Torrin Pride, immediate starter. Love everything he does. Shout out to Charleston. This is the guy right here, though. I am so interested to see what Drayden Norwood does this year. Drayden Norwood He's been the nickel corner for the last year. Last year he was a nickel corner, played in all 12 games, and I think he started like half the games when Rakestraw couldn't go. That was who was starting. Norwood, okay, number 12. I think he's ready to start. I think he's ready to go, and I think there won't be that much of a drop-off. And then I believe in Dalen all day. Dalen Carnell, one of my top safeties in America, like everything he does. All in all, guys, when I look at this team, I just love the way they're built. I love the way they're coached. We're worried about the defensive side of the ball, but we're going to have a whole lot of shootouts. Now, what scares me is some of these early games, they were a lot closer than you think. They were a lot closer than they should have been. And they need to find a way to dominate teams within the conference. What they did at the end of the year was so impressive. What they did to Tennessee and Arkansas, so impressive. The way they went out there and hit Ohio State in the mouth, I'm impressed. So, what do I think of 2024? 2024, they're beating Murray State, they're beating Buffalo, they're beating Boston College, they're beating Vanderbilt. So they're immediately 4-0. You have 2 weeks to prepare for Texas A&M. It looks like a win to me. It does. So now they're 5-0. They can beat UMass without ever practicing for UMass. So you have 2 weeks to prepare to beat Auburn at home. This is a trap game. It's not a trap game. You can ignore UMass. So once again, I have them beating Auburn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row. Now you got to go on the road and beat Alabama. That's a daunting task. I think they're more poised to do it. I do. 2 weeks to prepare for Oklahoma. They're going to beat Oklahoma if they got 2 weeks to prepare. At South Carolina, at Mississippi State, and then Arkansas to end it. Guys, I was wrong last year. I really think Missouri, with that lone game against Alabama, I think Missouri is going to run the table. If they lose to Alabama on the road, fine. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 wins. I really like when you have a quarterback like Brady Cook coming back for his third year as a starter. It's his third year as a starter with every single wide receiver. And I know they have good running backs. And Brady Cook can run the ball too. But the only thing you're concerned with is a new defensive coordinator, and you have a bunch of transfers to rotate in on the defensive line. That's it. I don't know, man. For me, it feels like they can't lose to a lot of these teams. So I could be wrong. You can stay away from it. But it's a value bet. It's a plus 146. And I believe in it. So let me pull up the chart for you guys. Whoops, wrong chart. Let's pull up this chart. Locks. Let's pull up the... Excuse me, I got the UFC stuff up here. You'd think I would cut all this out of the video, but I don't edit my videos. We just talk, y'all. We just hang out and talk. So, here's the whole chart. You guys can see here, I am on Missouri, and it is a value bet, 1 unit, saying they're going over 9.5 wins. There's room for error there, because I think they're winning 11 games. So, I could be wrong in a couple of spots, but I still think 9.5 is too low for them. I really like their team. I think they win 10 games in the regular season. Some MVPs are better than others. You can make this bet. You can make all the purples and see how you turn out. By the way, I re-looked Florida State, and I wanted to say they're going to go over, and then I re-looked again, and I said, no, I'm leaving it. So, but yeah, there's your Missouri deep dive. I believe in them this year. I think they're over 9.5 wins. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows.